It is big news there. No surprise Djokovic has pulled out, but Sinner pulling out. I'm so disappointed. I really wanted to see him try and go for that,
Picture the courts of Montreal, freshly painted, nets pulled taut, cameras rigged and ready. Ticket holders have circled this week for months, dreaming of one thing: watching the greatest players alive battle under the summer sky. And then, in a single afternoon, that dream cracks wide open. Tennis Canada drops the announcement like a thunderclap. The king is out. The world number one, Jannik Sinner, fresh off his Wimbledon triumph just weeks ago, will not be walking onto center court. And standing right beside that shocking headline is a name etched into tennis history forever. Novak Djokovic, the 24-time Grand Slam champion, also withdrawing. Two of the biggest stars in the sport, gone in the same breath on the same day. But the story doesn't stop there. Because when fans scan the entry list, searching desperately for one more legend to hold on to, they find nothing. No Carlos Alcaraz. The 7-time major champion, the electric young force who has captivated crowds across the globe, isn't even listed. He's still nursing a right wrist injury, so severe it already tore him away from the clay of Roland Garros and the grass of Wimbledon. 3 of the most magnetic names in men's tennis. 3 empty chairs where champions should sit. For the organizers, this isn't just disappointing, it's a gut punch they didn't see coming. This year was supposed to be different. This year, the tournament pushed its dates back, giving players a full 3-week buffer after Wimbledon, precisely so exhausted bodies could recover and superstars could show up ready to fight. Officials believe they'd built in enough cushion. They believed the wounds of last year, when this same trio skipped Toronto just 2 weeks after Wimbledon, would finally heal. They were wrong. Sinner's own words cut through the confusion with quiet, devastating honesty. He describes sitting down with his team, weighing every angle, wrestling with a decision that was anything but easy. In the end, he says, protecting his health had to come first. He calls it a hard choice, one that leaves him disappointed to be missing an event of this magnitude, but one he insists is necessary. And then, almost as a promise into the void, he vows he'll be back in Montreal someday. It's the kind of statement that sounds reasonable in isolation. A champion, human after all, choosing longevity over another grueling stretch on hard courts. But zoom out, and a much bigger, much more unsettling pattern begins to emerge. Because this isn't a one-time absence. This is a trend, and trends in professional sports rarely stay quiet for long. Tournament director Valérie Tétreault doesn't hide her frustration. She acknowledges, publicly and directly, that players' health must always come first. She respects that fully. But she also voices what so many fans have been whispering behind closed doors, that these repeated last-minute withdrawals from marquee events are starting to raise serious questions about the sport itself. Masters 1,000 tournaments are supposed to be flagship showcases, the crown jewels beneath the 4 majors. Fans buy tickets, block off vacation days, fly across provinces and countries, all banking on the promise of seeing the very best go head-to-head. And when that promise breaks, again, the frustration doesn't just belong to organizers. It belongs to everyone who believed in the spectacle. So now Montreal faces a defining moment. With the sport's biggest names absent, who steps into the spotlight? Who seizes this sudden, unexpected opportunity? Enter Alexander Zverev, the reigning French Open champion, still riding the momentum of a runner-up finish at Wimbledon, suddenly finds himself thrust into the number 1 seed position, the biggest target on his back all year. This isn't the role he expected walking into the tournament, but it's the role fate has handed him. Every match now carries extra weight. Every point is magnified. Can he carry the tournament on his shoulders and prove he belongs at the very top, even with the true number 1 sitting this one out? And then there's a storyline built for pure home crowd magic. Félix Auger-Aliassime, Montreal's own son, a player who grew up dreaming of this exact stage, has been named the 2nd seed. Let that sink in. It's the highest seeding any Canadian has ever held in the history of this tournament. Imagine the roar when he steps onto that court in his own city, wearing that seed-like armor, with an entire nation suddenly seeing a golden opportunity where disappointment used to be. The absence of giants has cracked open a door, and Auger-Aliassime has a real, tangible shot at walking through it in front of the very fans who raised him. Suddenly, the narrative of this tournament flips entirely. What began as a story of loss, of empty seats where legends should be, transforms into a story of opportunity, tension, and unpredictability. Without Sinner's relentless power, without Djokovic's ruthless precision, without the promise of Alcaraz's fearless shot-making, the draw becomes a wide-open battlefield. Contenders who normally live in the shadows of the Big Three now have a real, unobstructed path toward a Masters 1000 title. This is the kind of tournament where a career-defining run suddenly becomes possible. But even as fans start to embrace this new chapter, one nagging question refuses to fade. Is this really becoming the new normal? 2 years in a row now, the same 3 superstars have vanished from this event. 2 years in a row, tournament officials have been left explaining absences instead of celebrating showdowns. And with Sinner and Djokovic both eyeing a return at the Cincinnati Open, a tournament that begins the very day Montreal wraps up, some can't help but wonder if this withdrawal was as much about strategy and scheduling as it was about pure physical necessity. Are the top players quietly prioritizing certain events over others, reshaping the sports landscape one calendar decision at a time? There are no easy answers yet. What's certain is this. The countdown to the U.S. Open has now officially begun, and every match remaining on the road there suddenly carries higher stakes. Cincinnati looms as the next proving ground, the place where Sinner and Djokovic are expected to reappear, hungry to reclaim the spotlight before tennis reaches its final Grand Slam of the summer. For now, though, all eyes turn to Montreal, a tournament rocked by absence, yet pulsing with unexpected possibility. A crown up for grabs, a hometown hero with history in his hands, and a sport standing at a crossroads, forced to ask itself an uncomfortable question. When the biggest stars keep walking away, what exactly are fans left cheering for? The courts are ready. The story is far from over. And somewhere between disappointment and opportunity, Montreal is about to write a chapter no one saw coming.